My name is Brad Edwards. I'm the church planter, lead pastor at the Table Church in Lafayette. I grew up not even remotely in the church. I was not a Christian. I was just a capital S skeptic. And I became a Christian in part because rather than striking out at all these hoops that I had set out for God to jump through rationally or intellectually as a skeptic, he said, "Oh, that's cute. I'm going to circumvent all of that and just go straight for the heart." Kind of toward the end of my senior year, my best friend and my girlfriend, who I'm now married to, both on the same day independently were like, "Hey, you ever thought about getting into ministry and being a pastor?" And I said, "That is the dumbest idea I've ever heard." And so I was like, "Okay, that's dumb, but I'll pray about it." And I did that, and literally the next morning felt like I had tried on the most comfortable pair of boots I've ever worn, and I could never go back. And Matt Patrick calls me up, and I remember him saying, "Brad, why didn't you tell me you wanted to plant a church?" He's like, "Well, you should come into the Well and do a residency with us." Lafayette and the surrounding area, really Boulder County as a whole, is a place I've described many times as a place with urban or progressive values, suburban rhythms, rural aspirations for community, and first world problems. And it's this wonderful, beautiful mix of these very different values that you're not used to seeing in this kind of a place. And on top of all of that, it's not a secular place. People do agree that having a spiritual life is important. And so that's part of my connection to this place, is that there's this appreciation for generally spirituality, but it hasn't quite discovered in a lot of aspects the God of the Bible. And so there's a real stark need here for sure. As far as the Table, kind of our story, we care deeply about hospitality. Hospitality we define as relational generosity. It is something that expresses grace and love, and you're serving someone through tangible, ordinary means. And that is itself a demonstration of the gospel in community. We believe that God is a host and that he longs to be with his creation. And so that we are a place where there is a deep gospel enrichment and opportunity for people who are Christians, but also it is somewhere that someone who does not believe the gospel can feel a home at and still be challenged at the same time. It's a beautiful thing. What does it mean for Acts 29 to support us financially? And it means so much. As I said, it's the difference between us being able to bring on our first church planting resident at the end of our first year and not being able to do so. It's the difference between our being able to truly be selfless versus being self-conscious about where we are financially, and to love our neighbor as best we can and never need to be tempted with leveraging them as an opportunity for us. And so part of the reason why I'm passionate about church planting is seeing what God does in and through a community to reach people instead of just an individual. And that's a big deal in our culture that says you individually can change your world. It's no, a community can though. The church can. And that's beautiful.